musical theater composers in the show. I'm just wondering if you have any particular influences or mentors or people, even people we don't know that we should listen to, or?
No, I didn't grow up with too much musical theater in me until I got into high school and became obsessed with it. My dad is a guitarist, and I grew up listening to a lot of pop 60s music and everything from early Elvis, Ricky Nelson, the Beatles, all the way up through like folk mamas and papas. So my musical influences early on were mostly popular music, and then it led into musical theater, and so it's just an amalgam of all of those things. There's not any, there's, 4 bars from one song that I love, and it doesn't matter who. So it just comes from my whole life.
You love all of the Golden Apple.
Except I love all of the musical The Golden Apple, which none of you have ever heard of.
See, Linda Berry, Golden Apple, make a list, go home.
I'm just going to ask one last question, then I'll... because it was something interesting directing the show that I didn't even think about when I saw it. It wasn't until I'd worked on it a long time. As open as you are about this is us and this is our lives up here, you really don't talk at all about your personal lives. I mean, never in the piece is it. Within the piece, we know that Susan's going to get married, right. But we don't know how they got together, if they have relationships, if they have partners, if Heidi is dating anyone or wanting to. And I'm just wondering if that was a conscious choice, because so many things deal with relationships. And I realize getting into this, on the one hand, you're just opening it up and showing us everything. And on the other hand, there's a part that you kept for yourselves, which I'm just wondering if that was conscious.
Yeah, I mean, I think so.
I think so. Sometimes yes, sometimes no.
Well, we were trying to just mostly deal with the characters who were in the show and have them, because we wanted to establish the relationships between those 4 people. So we never really found it to be a priority or even something that we were like, hey, let's talk about a boyfriend. Unless we could actually introduce that character and show them, it didn't really behoove us to.
Yeah, and it wasn't so much about like a concealing, but I think it was about what drives the story and the momentum of these 4 friendships and getting the show from its inception to Broadway. What's interesting is never before, and I don't know, with these guys, it feels like people have a sense that they know you, or they're very familiar with you at the stage door. Some of that, I think, was born out of, you saw represented tonight, we did make YouTube shows called The Title of Show Show. You can Google that too. And so people, and that was a little more like open, but what's interesting, it is, yeah, it's not, I never really thought about that too, it's not specific, but it was kind of, I also think there's a fine line between the therapeutic, kind of either self-indulgent kind of thing, and so if it didn't, I credit Michael Bruss, who was our original director, but also served as a dramaturg, because since we were in it, we needed some outside eyes, and he could kind of track the longer periods. So I think some of that might have existed and fell by the wayside in different incarnations of like, what is the leanest, meanest way to tell these stories, and how do we invest in these 4 people on stage without being, kind of mentioning other lives off stage.
It was interesting because the 5 of us with Larry and Michael, the 6 of us together all went on this journey, and we had to make a conscious choice to not make the director a character in the show, because the director was with us constantly, he was always with us.
Or producers, or
right.
stage
So at some point
management.
we had to just be like, we can't make a scene about the lighting designer, or, as much as we wanted, even though Ken Billington, our lighting designer, is actually mentioned in the show.
But Michael is definitely a very active 6th part.
There's an invisible character here that's the director.
Yeah, but I never really thought about that. I don't know if I think part conscious, part subconscious, to tell a tight story about these 4 people.
Well, and it makes the one moment where you almost kiss Jeff really powerful, because
truly the thing about this, that was so crazy. People ask about that too, and I never thought we're not in love. I feel like he's my brother. Until tonight, baby. That'd be amazing. Just a ring, and he runs off crying. You always see that at the basketball games or whatever. Isn't there a fake one? I don't know. There's a fake one they did for a hockey team. But it was a stupid joke that we would just like at any point just lean over, like talk, and just be like.
We all do that to each other.
That made us laugh. So it made us laugh. But what's interesting is like a creative partnership is Jeff and I's relationship as collaborators. It's the most unique thing in the world. It's like a marriage, but it's not romantic. There are times I spend more time with Jeff than he does with his partner, because as you create things, we had the great fortune, name dropping, to meet John Kander of Kander and Ebb. He saw the show, and he's like, it's like a partnership, and I've talked to other like Aarons and Flaherty, these people that it's your kind of creative soulmate. So.
By the way, John Kander said that he and Fred Ebb always argued about whether theater was 2 syllables or 3.
That's great. John said he won because Fred died.